Hey guys, welcome to Soul Work Oracle Reading, and as promised, here is part 2 to the It's Not Them, It's You video that I promised that I would do. Now this video, I just wanted to clarify a couple messages because as we were pulling, there were quite a few different paths or things that some people needed to work on in order to get to their ending destination. It may have been self-love. You may have needed to focus more on your journey than on your destination. And so I just want to help clarify those things for anybody who may be feeling like, I just don't know what to do or where to begin. This will be a pick a card reading, and I have 2 decks. You can either pick from the Rose Quartz or the Tiger's Eye. But before we hop into that, I want you to sit back and close your eyes and meditate and think really hard about what it is that you feel or what patterns you feel like you need to break in order to get to your end journey. What is keeping you stagnant in your place? What is it about you that is making you feel like everybody is out to get you? And then finally, I want you to think about, what do you think will happen once the veil is lifted and your eyes are open and you see what you've contributed to a lot of the situations? Will you be able to make peace with those people? Or if you're unable to make peace because it's a burned bridge, will you be able to say in your heart that you're sorry, even if it's not to them, but that you are ready to move on from that situation? So just pause the video right here. Think about what it is that you need and pick your deck. And don't worry, I will put the timestamp in for where it starts. And I will see you guys in just a little bit. All right, guys, as promised, I am back with our first set of cards that was on the Rose Quartz. So if you picked the Rose Quartz, this reading is specifically for you. So what we were doing is we were working on seeing what internally and what inside of you is keeping you stuck. Why are you unable to move forward? I hate to call it a victim complex, but some people do suffer from a victim complex, and it's okay to admit that, especially if it's something that you want to change. Remember, the whole reading was it's not them, it's you. Even if there are external factors that are contributing to it, only you can change your actions. You can't change anyone else's actions. And this reading is supposed to help you figure out what it is you need to work on to make yourself better, so that, remember, you can get to your end goal of creating the reality that you want and being able to have the people in your life that need to be there. So first card I'm pulling is basically going to help us figure out what kind of patterns are you establishing, or what is it what's going on inside that you need to focus on. So this is the Ascension card. And what this means here is one of 2 things. You may already have started the process of working on it. You may have realized, yes, I know I have a bad attitude, or I'm clingy and I'm really trying my hardest to work on it. But guess what? Other people might not see it. And I know how that is firsthand. You're trying so hard to become a better person, or you're working on things, or just trying to better your life. And other people don't see it, and they're throwing it right back in your face. Guess what? It doesn't matter if they don't see it. The universe sees it. And guess what? You are being rewarded. You will be rewarded. While those in your circle may not see what you're doing, that doesn't mean you need to stop doing it. Keep moving forward, keep doing what you're doing. However, just because you hear that, yay, the universe acknowledges that I'm doing this, that doesn't mean you need to stop. You need to keep going. You need to keep working on it, because there's still something inside of you that you need to dig deeper to find what is causing you to be this way. Another thing is, this could also represent some type of imbalance in your life. Or I used the Marie Kondo example yesterday, wanting to get rid of things that doesn't bring you joy. Well, you're so busy removing things that don't spark joy that You are ignoring the work that needs to be done in order to spark joy. So, yep, that bottle of great value water might not have brought me any joy and I wanted the Dasani, but have I gone out and bought the Dasani? No, Dasani isn't just going to show up at my front door. I have to go and purchase it. Likewise, if you are friends with somebody and they're an emotional vampire, they're dragging you down because they always have a problem every time you talk to them, instead of removing them from your life completely, have you talked to them about it? Have you let them know that, hey, I'm not your therapist, I need you to go find one? Have you set your boundaries to where they have to learn to respect them, and if they aren't respecting them, then you are going to remove it? There's some imbalance going on within you where you know what you need to do, but you aren't taking the actions to remedy it. So focus on rising to the occasion. Focus on doing what you need to do to make things better. And even if nobody else sees it, don't worry. The universe is there and they see what you're doing. So the next card is going to show us which parts in your subconscious are blocking you from being able to focus on ascending. And as you can see, that is trust. How many of us have had trust issues or have trust issues? I'm one. I'm happily married and I still have trust issues. Not with him, just not like as far as infidelity, but I just find it really hard to trust people. Because we're in this new season of transformation, you can see that these are moths. Moths are just like butterflies. They're born in a cocoon and eventually they change to become what they are. They become their greater self. That's what you need to do in this season. You are still in the cocoon stage. You need to learn to trust, whether you need to trust the process, trust that there is somebody in your life who is trying to guide you and who isn't going to steer you wrong, but you feel like they are. There's something somewhere in your life or something in your subconscious that you are ignoring and that you are distrusting when in fact you need to trust. Not everybody is trying to steer you the wrong way, and a lot of us have that mindset. Believe it or not, there are enough people. We do have plenty of people in our lives who love us, who want to see the best for us, but we need to trust them. This is what we need to do. We need to trust them, and we aren't doing it. And it might be causing a lot of friction and pain and sorrow in those relationships, which is thus giving us the victim complex. It's not them that's doing anything wrong. They're trying to help you. You aren't trusting them. You cannot be scared. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, but it is okay to trust. It is okay to feel like somebody does have your best interest in heart. You don't want to be the cocoon forever. You want to be the moth. You want to be the butterfly. You want to be the one who reaches their higher self and who can shine a light and be that trusting figure for somebody else. So that's the second one. The next one is, what is it that we need to do in order to be able to trust and to be able to ascend and to get to that higher level of where we need to be? This was like a card I pulled last night, self-love. And you see what's on the self-love card? I don't know how well you can see that, sorry. It's a peacock. How many of you have been to a zoo or wherever the case may be? You see a peacock is just as braggadocious, and they know that they're beautiful creatures. They happily open their feathers for anybody and everybody to see, and they aren't afraid to show off all of those beautiful colors. But they weren't born that way. They had to become this. Just like us, we aren't born with the need to show off our everything. While we are born wonderfully made, beautifully and wonderfully made, there are still things in our lives that we might be afraid to show other people that we don't need to be. If you just got that degree and you're worried that people are going to talk down to you, or oh, you think you're smart because you have that degree, or you're not going to be able to find a stable relationship because the person feels threatened by your education, don't worry about that. You need to love yourself. You need to be proud of those things and those moments in your life that you have attained, that you have every right to celebrate. It's not about being bougie or anything else. It's about loving yourself because, hey, I accomplished this. Even if you don't have a huge accomplishment behind you, just loving yourself is what you need to do in order to get rid of this victim complex, And I don't mean like Taylor Swift victim complex, no shade to Taylor Swift fans. But I mean the victim complex that doesn't allow you to see that you also have a hand in a lot of these situations. People who love themselves aren't afraid to admit their faults. Think about that. People who really, truly love themselves have no issue admitting their faults, have no issue owning up or manning up to the things that they've done. Why? Because they know and recognize that their lies, their hurts, their actions, their words may have affected somebody else negatively. And they don't want to see anybody else feel that way. So by loving yourself, not only are you showing everybody the confidence and self-esteem that you rightfully deserve and that you rightfully are allowed to show others, it's also showing them that you are accepting responsibility for anything that has happened. And I want to make sure you can follow. I know that sounded a little weird, but let me explain it like this. Have you ever met someone who claims to be just the most secure and confident woman or man on earth, but say they step on your toe or, put the wrong type of gas in your car. Now the car is jacked up. And you talk to them and they just can never, ever seem to admit that they're wrong about anything. Do you think somebody who's afraid to admit that they're wrong truly loves themselves? And let's not confuse conceited with self-love. Those are two totally different things. If you are conceited if you're conceited, I feel to an extent that you don't truly love yourself. Conceit is a coping mechanism. People who love themselves, who experience self-love, they don't have to brag about it. They don't have to let everybody know that, oh, I know I'm beautiful. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a doctor. I got 5 degrees. I live in a big house. I'm this, and that. If you love yourself, you're confident in everything that you do. You're confident with your actions. You're confident to know that whatever you're working on, you're going to get there. So somebody, whatever it is in your life that you aren't loving, whatever it is about yourself that you aren't loving, this is what you need to work on in order to reach that higher level of ascension and to get your journey where it needs to be. And remember, this was one of the cards I pulled last night for somebody that they needed to learn to love themselves. So love yourself. The last one is, once you love yourself, once you realize you need to learn to trust others, and once you balance yourself, what will your life look like? Nature. Now, this may seem like a really odd card, and just looking at it, it is a little weird. But what does this, to me, this card is representing the fact that nature, like everything in nature, it's one with itself. If once you have everything else in alignment, then you'll be able to see the world a lot differently. You'll be able to see it for what it is. You'll be able to see and appreciate the beauty of the things around you, whether in your life, in other people, because you've made that deeper connection. And that's what this is saying. Once you get these three things in order, you'll be able to sit back and really, I guess, see the fruits of your hard work for trying to become a better person. You'll be able to appreciate the world. You'll be able to appreciate the beauty of the things around you, the beauty of the people in the new people that you've welcomed in your life. Because remember, you've removed those who aren't serving a purpose. You've removed them because their season is done with. Your new season has you appreciating the nature. It has you making those deeper and stronger connections with not just the world, but within yourself. It has you being able to see how much you love yourself and that loving yourself is important. It has you trusting that there might be somebody in your life who is trying to do right by you and who is trying to help you. It has you realizing that you need to balance yourself spiritually and that your work is going to be rewarded on the highest levels because you have done everything that you needed to. So all four of these are working together, and you can't skip one step and expect to end up here. You can't expect to end up with that deeper connection and deeper appreciation if you still don't love yourself. Or if you are like, I don't need anybody else, I don't trust anybody, you're never going to get here without trust. You not trusting is what's holding you back. And remember, this was what was going on subconsciously. So if you're missing the trust factor, without trust, all the rest of these literally are just cards. Cards that I can't seem to flip over. Without trust, none of the rest of this matters. So if you're having a hard time trusting, start here. This is what you need to work on. Whether it's journaling or just being able to put your feelings out. If you can't figure out why you have a hard time trusting, I suggest just writing down. Just write down your feelings. And eventually, one day, it might click as to why you're having a hard time trusting. And let's not confuse this with you needing to trust each and everybody that's in your life. Because remember, a lot of people keep their friends close, but their enemies closer. A lot of people will say that, hey, I'm for you, but will turn around and stab you in the back. You still have to learn to use the power of discernment in those situations. And a lot of us have that discernment. We just don't acknowledge it. We ignore all the signs that are there. If you're jumping in to trust somebody, that somebody is going to help you get to here, that deep connection, you have to make sure you're trusting the right person. And I can't give you the answer for who that right person is, but I just urge you to use discernment when going into that situation. So that is for the first deck. If you want to see what I pulled for the second deck, feel free to stick around. But that's it for you guys, and I will catch you next time. Hey guys, welcome back to Soul Work, and I am here to do the second part of the reading, the deck that had the Tiger's Eye gem on it. So remember, I wanted you to sit back and reflect and think on things that you needed to change and how you can start, or how you could start to lose that it's them mindset and to start really honing in and focusing on the things that you need to do to get your life in order and to make things better for you. So that is what we're going to do. These are the cards that I pulled. So remember, the first one was what was something that you needed to focus on. You might have some recurring patterns in your life that you need to break, and deep down or subconsciously you might know what those patterns are, but you aren't sure if that's it, and sometimes it's a lot helpful if we have somebody to call it out. So the first card is positive reflection. This means that you can see the good in everybody. You can see how great this person is doing, and wow, this person has changed your life for the better, yet you can't seem to see it in yourself. It's almost like you have low self-esteem, that you don't feel like you're a good person, or that you haven't been blessed with the same amazing qualities that such and such may have. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. We all were blessed with certain qualities. We all have things about us that make us unique and special and wonderful people. And you need to look deep and look at yourself and realize you are just as wonderful and special and blessed as anybody else is. Stop always looking for the good in everybody else and begin to see the good in you, that you are a good person. No matter what anybody has told you, that you're an amazing person. And if that's something that you have to repeat to yourself every hour on the hour, 24 times a day, if you got to do it more than that, twice an hour, then so be it. But you need to realize, positive reflection, you are just as worthy and just as amazing as anybody and everybody else. And don't discount that. Don't lose sight of that. If this is what you need to focus on, if this is a pattern that you need to break, I'm telling you, you need to break it right now. Self-love, self-care, all of that can be wrapped into this card as well. You need to love yourself, and you need to realize that you're just as special as any and everyone else. Now, the second card was what's going on in our subconscious. What's happening in our subconscious that's keeping us from moving forward, that's not allowing us to be the person that we need to be. Uplifting one another. Comparison is the thief of joy. I believe that's the saying. Do you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to others? If you do, that's probably why you have the positive reflection card and why you need to work on that as well. You might see, and nobody likes to admit that they're jealous. There's different levels of jealousy. I don't always look at jealousy as being a bad thing. For some people, jealousy is a motivating factor. But for some people, jealousy is just so horrible that it turns into a mean, nasty, ugly person. So it's never good to feel like, to be so jealous or envious of what somebody else has, that you can't see the forest for the trees and that you're ruining your own life. And for somebody, that might be what you're doing. You might see this person being lifted up by everybody else, and because they're being told that they have all these wonderful qualities, and you may not have heard that you've had those qualities before. Remember, that could go back to the kindred support that was lacking from the other reading. But you need to start seeing the wonderful qualities in you. And when you see those wonderful qualities, it can actually help you uplift other people. It doesn't matter if the Joneses have this, or that, and you don't have it. Once you start uplifting other people, regardless of how much further along than they are, you'll start to feel better about yourself. You'll start to radiate positive energy. Your vibrations will be higher, and you will be able to attract those things that you need to get your life in order. So work on uplifting other people. If this is what's holding you back in your subconscious, if you feel like you aren't ready to make that step yet, I'm always a big fan of journaling. Write it down. Write down what you want to say. If you are insanely jealous of what somebody else has, write it down. Tear it up, burn it, bury it in your backyard, whatever you have to do to get it out. I'm not saying you have to go tell that person. I probably would not, and I wouldn't even recommend anybody doing that unless, you can do it in a very tactful way. But you need to remove this green-eyed monster from your subconscious and from your life, because this is always going to hold you back. Always, always. Of course, you need to recognize your own abilities and see the positivity within you. But if you're spending so much time focusing on other people, nothing anyone else says or does will be able to help you. Nothing anyone says or does will help you move past this. All right, so the next part is the action. What action do you need to take in order to make these two go away or to fix these two. Intentional legacy. What have you done with your life? What is it that you want to do with your life? What have you contributed positive to your family, your community, to somebody's life? How is it that you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as that messy family member, or the one with all the kids who ran around with their nose snotty and not taken care of, or the one who was job hopping constantly, or Eeyore? Nobody wants to be remembered as anything negative. We all want somebody to look at us in a positive light. So what are you doing to set your legacy? Now is the time for you to step up on that stage and to put out there for everybody to see the things that you want people to know about you and how you want to be remembered once your end comes. If you want to be known as the loving, caring, kind person, start being that. You don't want to be the jealous person. You might want to be known as the person who's always uplifting and motivating everybody. That is a wonderful thing that's a wonderful quality to have, because not everybody can do this. Remember, some people are so jealous they will never compliment anybody on anything, no matter how important it is. But that could be your legacy. Your legacy could be you uplifting somebody. Your legacy could be you not only recognizing the gifts and the blessings in other people, but in yourself, and radiating that positivity. For instance, I give my kids an affirmation to say every single morning, and my 6-year-old goes to school and stands up in front of her class and says it every single day. She's now known as that child who helps the class start their day off the right way. She tells everybody an affirmation. I am special. I can do this. Whatever, her little 6-year-old mind comes up with, her teacher allows her to stand up and say it. And you see, as of right now, that's what her legacy is going to be. And if my 6-year-old can find a way to intentionally set her legacy at this stage, anybody who's watching that might be, whether you're 15, 28, 42, 32, 52, 62, 82, however old you are, you should be able to do the same thing. And if your legacy right now is that you're so negative and jealous, then nobody's really going to care to remember you. You just might fade to the back and just be a running joke. Oh, remember such and such? She was always fussing about something, always complaining. We just could not get anything done without her always bringing up something that somebody did. Nobody wants to be remembered like that. Nobody even wants to be talked about like that. So start setting your intentional legacy now. And lastly, once you have your intention, you've already set your intentions for how you want to be remembered. This is what your life will be like. Growing community. I want you to sit now, just take a moment and think about the people who are in your life now. Are they extremely negative, pessimistic, messy, drama-filled? What about you? Do you have a habit of placating into that drama? If so, that's the kind of people you've attracted to your community. And after a while, it starts to become draining. It can be, if you have a community filled of emotional vampires, the rest of this is just, you might as well hang it up. You probably won't get there until you get rid of them. Once you start to radiate that positivity and light, where you are being intentional about your legacy, you'll start to see your community change. You'll start to see your circle change. And some people might not like it, but guess what? That's their problem. You're the one who's growing and doing things for the better. This is one of your end games here. How you want to be remembered. Once you start showing that love and that light to other people, guess what? Other people who are filled with love and light are going to naturally drift towards you. They're going to fill your space with that same positivity and joy. You're going to start to have people in your life who add value to your life, not people who are here to just take, take, take. Not people who are here to just come and dump their problems on you and then run off, because nobody wants that. So start setting your legacy so that way you can grow your community into the community that you want to. And remember, when you grow your community to be what you want it to be, you can also start to create the reality that you wanted, which was in the card yesterday for the end game. You can create the reality that you want with the people around you. And all it takes is being intentional about what it is that you're trying to do and what it is about your legacy. But before you can do that, start seeing the positive in you. Start realizing that you are special. Start realizing that you are blessed and that you have amazing gifts and you have so much to contribute to this world. Stop being jealous of what other people have. What's for you is for you. And I know it sounds so cliche, but that's something that we all have to remember. If it's meant for you to have, you will have it. And there are things that each of us are meant to have that we'll have in our own time. We can't all have a 4,000 square foot house. We can't all have 6-figure salaries. But what we do have and what we are blessed with, we have to learn to live with it and appreciate it and to make it our own. You know, notwithstanding, nobody wants to live in poverty. Obviously, that's not what I'm talking about. But there are, don't be so jealous and so upset of what somebody else has that it's literally killing you, and that your legacy and your community are going to be affected because you're stuck here. You want the positive aspects of this, not the negative aspects of this. So, all right, guys, that is my reading for today. I will catch you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for all of the feedback and everything. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye.